Knicks fans, what's good? I am Josh, so focused.
I'm French, the Brohost, and we would like to welcome you to
the Knicks Take Podcast.
This is episode 63.
And this is a weekly podcast where we cover the biggest Knicks news of the week.
And you want to make sure to follow us on our Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter /X by searching for the Knicks Take.
Also, make sure you check us out at the website, theknickstake.com.
And if you love what you hear, subscribe to us on our platform that you're watching us on or listening to us on. Hit the thumbs up button. And if you're watching on YouTube, the notification bell. And most importantly, share this with any fellow Knicks fans that you have in your life. Anyone who might be watching games, probably missing games, but want to stay in tune with what's going on with the Knicks, just tell them to check in with us and we'll keep them informed.
That's right.
The Knicks Take Podcast.
Yeah, what it do? Blessings keep on falling through. Oh, don't panic, dog. Grow a boo. I can't lose. No, I can't lose.
All right, y'all. This week, we are going to be covering the games that happened earlier.
4 games.
4 games. We had Knicks play the Charlotte Hornets. Mm-hmm. Knicks played Boston Celtics. Knicks played Atlanta Hawks. And finally, we're going to cover the Washington Wizards game that just happened last night for us. Then we are going to go into the upcoming games. We're going to play Charlotte again.
Today.
Yep, today. As of this recording. We're going to play the Minnesota Timberwolves, one of the best teams in the Western Conference. And we're going to finish up with an in-season tournament game against the Miami Heat. And then finally, we're going to actually talk a little bit more about the in-season tournament and what we're seeing as far as the Knicks go, importance of the in-season tournament.
For sure.
So let's start off at the top. Knicks versus Charlotte Hornets. That game occurred last Sunday. It was afternoon game. It was 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock?
12 o'clock.
And we predicted that this would not be really a game. And the first quarter, it was a little tight game. Good play from Randall. He had another good start to the game. RJ started off pretty good. Emmanuel quickly started off pretty good. But LaMelo Ball, he kept the game a little close. Kept the Hornets close to the Knicks and score-wise. And then the bench unit came in. Bench unit featuring RJ Barrett as the only starter on the court. And they started increasing the lead a little bit. Building that lead. Starters, then they came back in, started to put it away slowly. Second quarter, RJ had a beautiful, beautiful dunk off of Quentin Grimes' driving kick. Third quarter, Quentin Grimes started knocking down some threes. And the whole team just started locking down defensively, started hitting shots offensively. Knicks just did what good teams do to bad teams. I got not much to say about this game. Knicks win 129-107. It's just really overall good effort from the team. Team looks absolutely great when RJ Barrett is on the court. Team high 24 points for RJ Barrett. He was 9 for 16 from the field, 2 for 3 from 3. And this game brought him to 50% from the three-point line, which, knowing how RJ has played over the first few years of his career, and then to see that he's at 50% from 3 is not something anybody would have really expected, even considering the short amount of games that we've had this season. 50%
worries me.
I'm not worried. I just the process from RJ Barrett and everything that he's been doing, he's just been consistent. And that's the one thing that's kind of been with the three-point shooting for him has been inconsistent. Some games he'll shoot well, some games he can't make one. He's just been consistent in his overall process. And when I see the consistency with everything, the shot release, the things that you're doing, the decisions you're making, the 50% number is probably going to come down from 3. But to say that I'm worried would mean that it's going to come down a lot. And I don't think it's going to come down a lot.
Well, it puts him at the top of the NBA. He's the best three-point shooter in the NBA over Steph Curry right now. And I remember last season, Obi Toppin was like the best shooter on the Knicks to start the season, and then he fell off a cliff. And we know RJ, this isn't like he's on a steady trajectory his whole career, getting better from 3 each year. So it's like you know it's bound to happen eventually. He hasn't been one of those kinds of shooters, so it worries me a little bit. Kind of like when Julius Randle was like one of the worst players in the last 30 years to start the season, and then he just evened out after a while and started to play like his normal self. I'm hoping that's kind of what happened with RJ, even though he's not as good a shooter as he's showing. I'm hoping that he could still keep it up and not fall off a cliff. So from this game, I felt like Brandon Miller, the rookie that they just drafted number 2 overall, I felt like he was looking like one of the best players on the court while he was out there. And then his injury is kind of what derailed the Hornets' chances of winning this game. So and that was like in the first quarter, second quarter maybe. And then the Knicks pretty much just took control of the whole game. You can't hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Just making sure.
I just want to kind of go back to the RJ thing. I was going to address it, but I felt like you had some more important points to cover. The difference between, I feel like, RJ and the Obi Toppin thing, Obi got the minutes that Julius Randle didn't play. We don't have that short sample size in each game thing with RJ Barrett, this way that we had it with Obi Toppin. So that's the thing. When you have a short stint and you're shooting good in that short stint, that's not really a reliable thing to look at to be like, oh yeah, this is going to continue. We're getting 30-minute games, 30-plus minute games from RJ Barrett, and he's shooting at a good clip. And that, proves more to sustainability than anything else.
It's true.
The only thing that might derail that is the fact that he keeps missing games. Yeah. He's missed. We'll talk about it. In the next few games, but he missed those games due to the knee soreness, and we're going to talk about it after this game. But he's missed more games since then. So if that's a continuous trend throughout the season, yeah, that 3-point thing, maybe it's not going to be as consistent. But I'm hoping that he'll play more consistently. The other thing I was trying to say with the team looking great with RJ Barrett being on the court. Outside of the 2 games that RJ Barrett, up to this game, outside of 2 games where he sat due to the knee injury, and the 2 games before that, the Knicks were averaging 34.5 assists in the games that he played. Outside of those 2 bad games, the New Orleans Pelicans game and I think the one before that, they were averaging 34.5 assists in the games he played. They had 25 assists in this game. They never topped 19 assists in the other 4 games. That's the 2 games that he played bad, where I'm assuming he was still suffering from that knee soreness, and the 2 games that he missed. So something about RJ Barrett being on the court is promoting passing. Mm-hmm. Maybe because he's on both the starting unit and he's leading the bench unit. So the same thing he's doing whenever he's on the court, the ball is just moving. He's picked that up from the bench unit. And he's bringing that to the starting unit. And that's why the Knicks are passing so well when he's on the court. And, up until this game, they hadn't really passed so well when he was not in the game. So, also, Randle finally had an efficient shooting performance, 50% from the field, 23 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals. Overall, decent game from Randle.
6 for 8 from the free throw line.
Yeah.
3 steals.
Yep. I don't know what it is about his game. I think it's because the talent around him has gotten so much better. So when the talent around you gets better, some of the things that maybe you've always done poorly starts to shine a little bit more, because it's like, all right, maybe before it's because you're pressing because you have to do all of this extra-ish. You don't really have to do that as much anymore. So why are you still doing these numbskull plays and stuff like that? Like, why are you turning over the ball in that way? Why are you holding on to the ball that long? Why are you taking that shot? And, but if I look at it objectively and not with my Randle hater lens, this was a good game for Randle.
Yeah.
And
it's bad habits. It's no play is going to be perfect. He's still going to have some moments where he's going to have a turnover or hold the ball too long, but I feel like overall he's still fitting within the team, and
Yep.
Being one of the leaders, so I ain't too mad.
Yeah, Brunson had a good Brunson game, 20 points on 7 for 12. Knicks did what they had to do. The only player to play 30 minutes was RJ Barrett, and that was good because it's on to the next one. They had a back-to-back. That was the first game of the back-to-back, and the second game is
Boston. Knicks head to TD Garden to face off with the Boston Celtics on the back end of yet another back-to-back. Like you just said, RJ Barrett is out this game with a migraine, so Josh Hart had to step into the starting lineup, and the Knicks and Celtics were pretty much going at it the whole first half. No team was able to get more than a 10-point lead. Mitchell Robinson had a strong start to the first half. I felt like he was kind of neutralized a little bit in the second half because we didn't really see too much of his presence, or like you see how he dominated against Atlanta. Why you keep looking at me like that? We didn't see Mitchell Robinson's presence dominated over the second half as much as it was in the first half, and how he looked against other teams. And I feel like that was kind of missed. Boston kind of ran it up on us in the third. And the Knicks fought back, ended up bringing the lead back down to, I believe it was a tie game going into the fourth, or am I mistaken? So the Knicks, because it was on the back end of a back-to-back, they couldn't really respond with the same intensity that Boston was playing with. And Jason Tatum basically took over in that fourth quarter and was hitting tough shot after tough shot. Hit a few contested threes. I believe one of them was like an and one three on Josh Hart, if I'm not mistaken. And
Yep, it was.
after that, the game pretty much was in Boston's favor. They were at home where they haven't lost all season. But we didn't really get much productivity from the bench. And I feel like that's where we kind of missed RJ Barrett's presence, because he definitely leads the bench unit, because he's one of the first starters to sit down, and then he comes in with the bench. And that's when he really gets cooking, because him and IQ are basically the two top scorers coming off the bench. Isaiah Hartenstein didn't really have a great game. He only finished the game with 3 points, 3 rebounds. Quickly only had 7 points on 1 for 10 shooting. But Julius Randle had another solid performance. 25 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. He wasn't the most efficient, but when you're playing against a top defense like Boston, it's like you can understand why he shoots 7 for 19, but he had...
Yeah, this was a rough, not even a rough game. It was really a rough second half to watch. And it really kind of started at the end of the first quarter. I wrote that I made an acronym, and I'm trying to remember what the acronym was. The acronym was WELP. And when everyone lacks poise. And I said that because they lost a little bit of their poise at the end of the first half. And that extended into the third quarter, when all of the things that, helped them gain a lead in the first half, all of the things that helped them maintain a competitive edge, it's just slowly started going away in the third and the fourth quarter. And Mitchell Robinson did what we expect him to do as far as protecting the paint and stuff like that, but he also was matched up against Kristaps Porzingis that presented his problems. And I believe guys like Julius Randle didn't do what they needed to do to help Mitch when it came to recovering defensively. And everyone just started making silly mistakes, and it just, you can't make mistakes of that magnitude against a team this good. Yeah, that's all I got for really the game. I thought the Knicks played well, and then in the fourth quarter, because you've given them such advantage with the mistakes that you were making, the Celtics was just like, all right, now we can just gonna hand it to Jason Tatum, and if he's got it, if he's cooking, you guys can't do anything. And the Knicks couldn't do anything. They had an opportunity to make, if maybe not win this game, but make this finish a lot closer than what it was. It was 98 to 114 to close the game. And
yeah, I didn't feel like that score was indicative of how the game went.
It wasn't indicative of how the game went, but you look at the score and you know that when ESPN and all of these people who don't really follow the full games, they're gonna just look at this like, yeah, Boston won, of course, and they won by that much. Oh yeah, this is a game where the Knicks needed to kind of prove, and they've already lost one game to the Celtics, a game that they should have and could have won. This is a game where they should have proven, listen, yes, they have one of the best records in the Eastern Conference. We're on that level. And this wasn't a game where they showed that. This is a game where they kind of was like, yeah, we're good, but we're not good enough. The Knicks want to be in that place where they are interchangeable with the Boston Celtics in terms of, can they come out in the East? They want to be interchangeable with the Philadelphia 76ers. They want to be interchangeable with the Milwaukee Bucks. And this was a game for them to prove it. And maybe because RJ Barrett was missing, they could have used him. They really could have used him in this game. But even when he's out, you have to just go all out and take that win. I understand it's the second half of a back-to-back. I already said, the only player who played 30 minutes in that first game was RJ Barrett, and he didn't play in this game. So there's really no excuses for me as far as, okay, everybody's tired. And yeah, that's all I got for this game.
Yeah, I don't really feel like we're that far away from Boston because they really haven't faced off against many. Like, we've had the hardest schedule by far. And after this game, we dropped down back to 500, 5-5, and this was the 10th game of the season. Mm-hmm. Boston, after finishing this game, they finished 8-2 in the standings, which pushed them second place, I believe. But they played like Brooklyn, Toronto, twice Toronto, and like they played a bunch of under the I don't even know what I'm trying to say. They just not that good.
Right.
So I feel like because we were able to,
I think the caveat
with them, it's like we're not that far away from them.
I think the caveat is that, yeah, they may not have played a lot of great teams, but what they're doing to the teams that they're playing against is kind of indicative of how well they play and how good they are. Like, there's two things that you have to do when you look at the games that another team has played, right? Who they played against and how well they played against them, how much they beat them by. And I see some games we're going to talk about later, upcoming in the schedule, or coming up in the schedule, excuse me, where there are teams playing against who have good records, and you look at the teams they beat. All right, they had a close game against this team. They almost lost to this team. This team is just okay. They're not great. So I don't think that applies to Boston. Yeah, they may have had an easier schedule than the Knicks, but they're doing what they're supposed to do. And the Knicks, likewise, are doing what they're supposed to do against bad teams. It's against the good to great teams that you have to kind of show how good you are.
Yeah.
Are we done with Boston?
Yeah, we could go into the next game.
All right, on to the next. We have Knicks at the Atlanta Hawks. We recently played Atlanta Hawks, so we know what to expect coming into this game. RJ Barrett missed this game again due to migraines. So Josh Hart once again started. First quarter, the Knicks came out on fire. When we were talking about this game last week, I was like, yeah, Hawks got nothing for us. Mitchell Robinson playing, that's it, it's over. And first quarter kind of bared that out. You know, they just did everything well. They didn't turn over the ball at all in the first quarter. They shot well. This was a 13-point lead, I believe, in the first quarter that they built up. And then the game just got really, really annoying because Atlanta just came back into it. And it wasn't that they came back into it solely because Atlanta played hard. Atlanta got back into it partially because the Knicks were turning the ball over left and right, making sloppy mistakes, sloppy decisions, not passing correctly, not taking the best available shot. And
guys open.
Yeah. Like, they had 0 turnovers in the first quarter. Amazing. And then they followed it up with 6 turnovers in the second quarter. Like, that's not right. And they finished the game with 16 turnovers. They had a 13-point lead in the first quarter. It was 57-56 Knicks at the half. And then it was back and forth with the Hawks for the rest of the night. And for a team that we're saying, yeah, this is a scheduled win, like we should easily beat this team, and to see them go up by so much and then to just kind of turn it into a slog for the rest of the game, it was just really, really annoying for me. I know for some other people that this game wasn't annoying. This is, that Hawks team is a good team. I already said I don't believe the Hawks are a good team. The Hawks may squeak into the playoffs. Maybe they'll be a top 6 seed. But for me, I do think that there is a line that the Knicks are above and the Hawks are under. And that's just what I got for the Hawks.
Maybe they're not a good team, but they definitely have a lot of good players. Like Jalen Johnson, who's the starter now for them, now that John Collins is gone. He had a real solid game. He was 4 for 4 from 3. Only missed 2 shots for the night. Bogdanovich, he's one of my favorite young players in the NBA. He used to be in Sacramento before he went to Atlanta. He had 28 off the bench. Sadiq Bey, he was in Detroit for however many years he was in Detroit for, and he had 16 points off the bench. And I feel like them last 2 players are the ones who really brought the team back, and they had all the intensity that Atlanta was missing out of their starting unit. And DeJounte Murray was the person that killed this last game, and he didn't really show up this game.
Well, I'm gonna go back to the point that you said they might be a bad team, but they got good players. We're in a league now where every team has good players, except the Washington Wizards. Actually, the Washington Wizards, you could say have good players too, if you squint and look hard. But every team has good players. Like, you could make a case for any team to really be a playoff team if either certain players aren't injured or certain players get going. So I'm not that, they have good players, yeah, but do those players fit together? Do they have an identity? And this ain't an Atlanta Hawks podcast, this is a Knicks podcast, but Trae Young is probably the biggest problem on the Atlanta Hawks team as far as defensively. Like, if he was like 2 inches taller, then they probably would be better off, but you can't control height. And I'm saying he needs to be 2 inches taller because you could probably get away with him being as poor of a defender as he is if he was a bit bigger. And he just gets, his hands, I don't know. If he just gets in, somehow affects defensively the other team. But he can't. He's too short, and he doesn't have the right defensive mindset. So there's nothing that really Atlanta can do with him, even though he is their best offensive player. And then I want to, let's go into the fourth quarter, because I kind of disagree with what you said about DeJounte Murray. Fourth quarter saw the Knicks give up more than a 2-point lead for the first time. Grimes got injured early in the fourth. He fouled Bogey, and somehow I couldn't even tell how he hurt his hand, but he went for a foul and then he started holding his hand, and he never returned in the game. After the Knicks went up 4 points, the Knicks let the Hawks go on an 11-0 run. Let the Hawks score 11 straight points to 0 points. And the Knicks looked like they were going to lose a game that started off as a potential blowout. That was annoying. But after the run, Knicks down 7. Tom Thibodeau called a timeout. Knicks came back looking refreshed. Emmanuel quickly by himself goes on a 5-0 run for the New York Knicks. He knocks down a 26-footer for 3. Then he comes back down after a Hawks miss and hits a floater. Brunson then sinks a clutch 3. The Brunson burner, as Gus Johnson said.
After Mitch hustled for that ball, because Randall did a layup, missed. Instead of it going out of bounds, Mitch got it, passed it to Josh Hart in the corner, and he kicked it out to Brunson for 3.
Key moment in the game. IQ drew another couple fouls before Brunson drops his second straight 3-pointer. Brunson finished 6 for 10 from 3. That's 60%, people, for those of you who are not good at math. Hawks would not go away, though. And that 3 only put the Knicks up by 1. In the final seconds, Brunson hits a pull-up midi to put the Knicks up 3 with 19 seconds remaining.
Stared down Quavo after that.
And that pretty much assured the Knicks victory. The Knicks win 116-114 after the Knicks win the free throw battle to end the game against the Atlanta Hawks. My final thoughts on this game are that timeout that I mentioned before, Hawks coach subbed out Bogdanovich, Okongwu, and Sadiq Bey and brought in Trae Young. And that probably cost them the game because the Knicks absolutely targeted Trae Young during those first few possessions. And that's how they got back from being down 7 to taking a 1-point lead. I would have been mad if the Knicks lost this one. Like, I would have been really pissed off because they're the better team. And even though they were without RJ Barrett, they showed in the first quarter that they should beat this team even without him. And yeah, they turned the ball over 13 in a bunch of times in the second and third. 13 times combined in the second and third quarter. Like, if you don't turn over the ball that much in 2 quarters, like, this ain't a game. Like, this is a blowout. You put the bench out there in the fourth quarter. Like, DeJounte Murray, I meant to bring this up earlier. DeJounte Murray is their closer, right? He was playing very well in the first game. He reserved all of that energy for the fourth quarter. One of those big buckets that the reason why the Hawks were in that game at the end was that he was kept going into that mid-range and knocking down that mid-range jumper at the end of the game. And if not for DeJounte Murray, this probably would not have been a free throw battle at the end of the game. This probably would have just been a double-digit Knicks victory. But DeJounte is the one who kept the Hawks scoring. It wasn't Trae Young, it was DeJounte. So you gotta give him his props for being that closer for the Atlanta Hawks.
Speaking of props, I got a question for you.
Okay. Is this a betting question?
No.
Okay.
Why you hate Julius Randle?
I feel
like he was the leader on this game. Like, he had 29 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists. Mm-hmm. Nobody on Atlanta could stop him, and he didn't even get a mention. Like, he was the main person that was keeping his game in the Knicks' favor in the first half, and then Brunson closed the game out. But come on now. Exactly. He didn't get a mention?
Exactly what you said in the first half, right? Like, this was a game. Like, what happens in the first quarter, yeah, you're absolutely right. Randle came out looking spectacular.
Mm-hmm. Almost had a triple-double.
I also feel like he was part of the reason why the Hawks was in this game. And, you know, I didn't say anything negative about Julius, like, to be fair, right? I just didn't mention him at all because he did have a really good game.
He did the last time against Atlanta too. He almost had a triple-double in both of them games.
Yeah.
Come on now. Give credit where credit is due. Props.
He shot particularly well, 50% from the field, 60% from 3.
Yeah.
But
if DeJounte Murray could get a shout out and he only scored 13 points, come on now. This is the Knicks we talking about. This is the Knicks Take Podcast.
Yes. But like I said, there's something about Julius Randle, like, he'll have 29 points, 10 rebounds, almost have a triple-double. And I'm still looking at him like, why are you doing what you're doing on the court? Like, I don't understand.
It's
like, if
12.
you do what you did in the first quarter for the next 3, this is a blowout, right? And it's not just him, right? Because he only had 1 turnover. We have Quentin Grimes with 3 turnovers, Jalen Brunson with 3 turnovers, Dante DiVincenzo with 4 turnovers, Emmanuel Quickley with 2 turnovers, Josh Hart with 2. Like, he only had 1, so I'm not blaming him, right? I just felt like there are certain times where it's your, like, okay, you're the best player in the court. This is your time to put the stamp on the game and say, hey, this team ain't on our level. And we can't count on him to do that. We have to count on him Quickly and Jalen Brunson to do that. Like,
because they're the best ball handlers. We don't want Randle to take control over the game and then do these spins in the paint. Like, we've seen that already.
And exactly
that's why, like,
what you're
him
saying
falling back
is exactly why I didn't really bring him up, because I don't know what to do with a game like this for Julius. It's on paper, it's an absolutely monster of a game from Julius.
It was more than paper too.
And it was more than paper too. He had some good moments, but the biggest moments of the game don't involve him.
But we wouldn't be in the game without him.
I don't know if that's true.
Why you say that?
I don't
Brunson
know
was
if that's
8 for 19. He wasn't scoring in the second. I mean, not in the 2-point. Outside of 3, he wasn't having a great game. He was missing layups, missing pull-ups, and it wasn't until
when
the
we
fourth
needed
quarter
him,
if that was Randall,
But when we needed him to play big, he played big. And when Julius Randle played big, it wasn't an important part of the game because the Hawks came back. Did they not?
It was an important part of the game. It wasn't like it was a blowout all the way up until the fourth quarter.
No. Actually, we were, like I said, we were up 13 in the first.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened to Julius in the second and third quarters of this game?
He was still scoring and still getting rebounds and still making assists.
And how was he doing defensively?
He wasn't getting killed by nobody. Nobody on that lane even got 20 points. Except for Bogdanovich.
Okay, if you say so. Well, that's all. All's well that ends well at the end of the day, right? The Knicks proved they were the better team. Yeah, they got the win that they should have gotten. It was a little closer than I thought it should have been. And yeah, that's all I got for this game. Like, they did what they had to do. I was annoyed at everybody, not just Julius. But the fact that they came up big, they were down 7 with 5 minutes to go, and you're thinking you're going to lose this game, and you come back and you win. You can't be mad about it. I was mad for a little bit, but whatever. It was just annoying.
So we going on to the next game?
Let's go.
Knicks head to visit the 2-9 Washington Wizards for their second in-season tournament game. And RJ Barrett is out another game with a migraine injury. Can you even call migraine an injury? Migraine, he had a headache, y'all. He was joined by Quentin Grimes, who, like you just mentioned, he injured his hand last game.
Mm-hmm.
So he's out with RJ out. So that means DiVincenzo's getting inserted into the starting lineup.
Yep.
Josh Hart's going to be in the starting lineup. Mm-hmm. And I was nervous, I'm not going to lie, because I'm expecting RJ to play this game, and it's the Wizards. They stink. This felt like a trap game, though. We missing RJ and Quentin Grimes, who, even though he's not having a great season, he's still a floor spacer. Has size. He normally guards the best player. I figured he would have been on Poole, but DiVincenzo, he came out. He played really well in the first half. Josh Hart was balling. And this was pretty much like, you was just waiting for the Knicks to just go on that run to close this game out.
Mm-hmm.
But it never really got to that point until late into the fourth quarter. Maybe not late into the fourth quarter, but it was a 5-point game in the fourth quarter. And it was kind of like, bro, we on the road. Like, this team isn't really that competitive. Jordan Poole had like 0, if not, did he finish the game with 0 points?
No, he did not.
But he was stinking it up.
He had 0 points in the first half. He scored his first points in the third quarter.
He was stinking it up.
Mm-hmm.
And Kuzma wasn't really doing nothing. He shot 8 for 21 for the game. And Jordan Poole didn't hit a 3 the whole game. But after, like I just mentioned, it was a 5-point game in the fourth quarter. Tibbs calls a timeout. The Wizards didn't score again until the third stringers came into the game. Like, the Knicks just went on a crazy run. Emmanuel quickly had a huge fourth quarter, scoring 14 points in that quarter alone. Finished the game with 27 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists. Jalen Brunson had another smoker from 3, hit 6 threes on 10 attempts.
Yep.
6 for 6 from the free throw line. Finished the game with 32 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. Randall, another game where he's efficient, 22 points, 8 assists, 7 rebounds. Like, Randall, from that start of the season where he was playing like absolute dog shit, he's been playing like how he's been talking about how he wants to play. Efficient basketball. He's not forcing anything. He didn't hit his threes. He went 1 for 5 from 3, but I like the Julius Randle that we've seen in this last week.
I kind of disagree with what you're saying.
Why not?
Because he said, if you look at the quotes, he said, I'm not gonna take more threes. I'm gonna take better threes. And he's not doing either. He's not doing either one. It's good to see Julius Randle back. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah. It's good to see that there was just a baseline that he needed to play. I didn't need him to play better. than what he played last season. I didn't need him to play better than he did in the We Here season 3 years ago. I just needed a just borderline Julius. Don't kill us too much with some of your mistakes. And get your 20 and 10 if you can. And if you can't get your 20 and 10, try and make some assists. And that's what he's been doing. You know, you don't have to be the triple-double demon that you were 3 years ago. You don't have to put the team on your back the way that you were doing. Just contribute where you can and don't fall asleep on defense, which, you know, we're still waiting on that second part.
He still had 1 steal and 2 blocks, though.
I mean, certain counting stats like steals and blocks does not make you a great defender.
I'm not saying he's great. I'm just saying that ain't stuff that you could just look at the box score and expect to see from Randall.
That's true. This is true. My thoughts on this game. Why do we allow Julius Randle to shoot technical fouls? Didn't matter, but it was just a random thought I had during this game. Another thought that I had actually, before I get to that thought, I want to kind of shout out a couple plays. Lob to Mitch, where he caught it with one hand and dunked it. Woo. And then the DDV, Dante DiVincenzo putback dunk that he had in the third quarter. Woo. I thought he was just going to lay it up. I didn't know he was going to dunk it.
He got some bounce.
And then a key play that happened that ended up not mattering. There was a call where they said that Kuzma fouled him, but then they overturned it and called it an offensive foul. And then Randle allowed Kyle Kuzma to drop the 3 right after that. That's the Julius Randle, the negative part of the Julius Randle experience. He played great. It was a good Randle game. But so now the final thought that I have. This was the one game where I'm like, Tibbs, just keep the starters in to the end of the game. Like, I understand we have a back-to-back, you know, whatever, but, you know, this is the in-season tournament, and it would be nice for us to be in the, you know, quarterfinals for the in-season tournament. And we'll talk about that next, but he didn't do it. The Knicks were up 20 points or whatever, and he pulled all the starters and put the bench out there. And I was like, why are you doing this now? The other day when the bench was on the court at the 4 or 5 minute mark, you kept the starters in there. Like, these games where you keep the Clippers game, we were up. You know, that's the same game we were talking about. They were up 4 minutes. Clippers put their bench in there, and the starters were in the game. Pretty much until the end, right? I don't think he ever pulled the starters from in that Clippers game.
He pulled them
with 30 seconds left or something like that.
2 minutes or so left. But the Wizards ain't the Clippers. That's the thing. Wizards suck.
I don't think Tom Thibodeau cares, because anybody could go out there and go on a heater, and now all of a sudden your 20-point game turns into a 5-point game. But the reason why I was like, okay, can we keep the starters out there, is because one of the tiebreakers, the first tiebreaker actually, in the in-season tournament is point differential. So I want the Knicks to run the score up whenever they have the opportunity in the in-season tournament. And this was a prime opportunity for them to run the score up. I don't care if you put in your bench guys out there. Keep our best players on the court. Put your foot on their neck. You know what I mean? You know, if you have the opportunity to American History X them, you go ahead and do that. And, you know, that's it. It's in-season tournament. You only get 4 games before the tournament, before you get to that quarterfinal. This was the second game. We only have 2 more games. If you end up in a tie for that wild card spot, because that's what I'm thinking, that's the only shot the Knicks have really, is for that wild card. Point differential is only going to help you. That's the first tiebreaker, and then after that is total points. So there's no reason for you to pull those starters. But whatever.
I ain't keeping the starters in on the front end of a back-to-back just because of this season tournament. Because I don't really care about the tournament, to be honest with you.
Are we done with this game?
We're done with this game.
Let's get right into the Knicks topic of the week, which is...
Wait, I didn't even say. The final score was 120-99. The Knicks win.
Yes.
Now we can move on.
The in-season tournament. Do you feel... It's a 2-part question. Is the in-season tournament important to you? You've already said no. And do you feel that the Knicks, I'm not going to talk about the teams and other NBA teams, do you feel that the New York Knicks consider it important?
Players or the coaching
the players.
staff? I feel like the players just are gonna.
The players and Tibbs.
They're gonna just treat it like how they treat every other game. They
Try to
care
win.
about every game, so they just want to win. They don't approach games like, I don't care about this.
Yes, but you do know, you can see sometimes that the Knicks get up for certain games and they don't get up for certain games. And even in mid-game, we've seen that this week, right? Against the Wizards, against the Hawks. We'll come out, we'll do what we're supposed to do. We're going to win this game. Oh, this team ain't good. All right, let's slow it down. Let's conserve our energy, right? So, yes, they do approach the games that way. But do you feel like, okay, this is an in-season tournament game? Do you feel like, okay, it's even less of an incentive for them to say no? You feel like they don't care? As long as they win the game, that's it?
Yeah, they just want to win the game. They don't really care about the scoring, probably. I think once it comes to the final, I don't know how it's going to be, final 4 teams, but once it gets to Vegas time and it's nationally televised, I think the Knicks are going to show up and they're going to really try to win it all, probably.
And see, that's the thing, though. The Knicks already have 1 loss. And this tournament is not that long to where you can afford to be like, oh, yeah, when it's time for... No, you have to take each one of these games seriously. Right now, I'm going to pull up the standings. Right now, the Knicks are 3rd in their group. Their group consists of Milwaukee Bucks, Miami Heat, who are both 2-0. New York Knicks are 1-1, the only 500 team in their group. The Charlotte Hornets and the Washington Wizards. Obviously, the Hornets and the Wizards stink. And we'll talk about the Miami Heat because we have our in-season tournament game against them on Friday. And then the Milwaukee Bucks. Actually, I think the Knicks are very fortunate to be in this group because I actually think that as long as the Milwaukee Bucks are still trying to figure it out, the Knicks have an opportunity to leapfrog them. But as I said before, point differential is very key. The Milwaukee Bucks have a point differential of 36, plus 36. I don't think the Knicks are going to catch that. So now you're relying on the Milwaukee Bucks to take a loss to one of these bum-ass teams that is the rest of these teams that, the only team that I think can beat the Milwaukee Bucks is the Miami Heat. So you got to hope for another Heat win, and you have to hope that you can beat the Miami Heat, which will make them 3-1. That would also make the Milwaukee Bucks, if the Miami Heat beat them, 3-1.
I got faith in LaMelo Ball.
And you have to hope that
they could beat him.
Beat who?
Bucks.
They already played,
they lost
bro.
already. Damn.
That's why their point differential is what it is, because they got their back kicked in. They got their back kicked in the same night that we beat the Wizards.
It's tough.
Yeah. So
he had 37 on him too.
And that's exactly why I was like, yo, you got to keep the starters in the game. And that's what made me wonder, do they really care about this? Because the way that I'm looking at it, even in the best case scenario, if your point differential ain't where it needs to be, you're automatically going to be out when this whole thing starts, because it's going to be the top 3 teams and a wild card team. And right now, the wild card team is the Miami Heat. Can we get over the point differential for both Miami Heat, or for one of Miami Heat and Milwaukee Bucks? Yes, but there's also a possibility that you don't.
What's our point differential right now?
Our point differential is plus 16, which is more than the Miami Heat, but the Miami Heat haven't lost. So
they will next Friday.
Right. We have to beat the Miami Heat, and we have to hope that the Miami Heat beat the Milwaukee Bucks. And we have to put a hurting on both the Miami Heat and the Charlotte Hornets. And then that will probably just that'll either guarantee us the wild card, or maybe we'll have a better point differential than the Milwaukee Bucks. But that's going to be difficult. I think that they're going to kick Washington's back in, and then it's going to be theirs to lose. They could afford to lose that Miami game. And if they don't lose that Miami game, then we're looking at the Knicks as the wild card. But still, it's a lot of stuff that you have to consider in this in-season tournament, and which is what makes me wonder, do they consider this an important thing? And should we consider this an important thing? You don't care.
Yeah, I don't really care.
You don't care about this in-season tournament. I feel like, this is how I feel. It would be nice for the New York Knicks to have a trophy in December.
It'd just be jokes. Like, oh, this is the Knicks championship.
But that's what it's always going to be.
That's always how it is.
This is the Knicks championship. Knicks beat the Boston Celtics. This is their championship. Like, I don't care about that. I just feel like whatever team comes out of this thing with a trophy, it gives you a little bit of legitimacy inside of the season. And if this in-season tournament turns out to be a successful thing for the NBA, to say that you're the first in-season tournament championship winner is going to be good. I mean, right now, the leaders are the Milwaukee Bucks, the Boston Celtics, and the Indiana Pacers. I feel like we have a leg up on everybody but the Boston Celtics. We've already lost to them twice. If you can beat Boston in an in-season tournament finale, I feel like that gives us a little bit of legitimacy.
And the 2 losses to Boston come with asterisks.
Excuse me, that wouldn't be the finale. That would be the semis. But the Western Conference has Los Angeles Lakers, Sacramento Kings, New Orleans Pelicans, and the Minnesota Timberwolves as currently the members that would make it into the in-season tournament. I'm not scared of any of those teams, except for the Timberwolves, who are the West wild card. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was just saying, I feel like those 2 losses to Boston come with an asterisk just because RJ was out the second game. Julius and Brunson had the worst shooting performances of their careers in the first game. And the ankle for Julius Randle wasn't right yet. So I feel like full-strength Knicks could definitely top Boston. But
I can't call it an asterisk. Boston's good.
They're good. But how much better of the Knicks? How much better are they than the Knicks is the question.
Well, let's just say this. A lot of people are predicting Boston will be in the finals, and some are predicting they'll be in the championship. The number of people that believe that for the Celtics compared to the number of people that believe that about the Knicks is not the same.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm basing anything off. Nobody watches the Knicks but Knicks fans.
That's not true either. A lot of people watch the Knicks. Do they take them seriously like Knicks fans? No. But
are they informed? Or do they just watch the nationally televised games?
Some
they ain't watching the games against the Hawks and the Hornets, and they ain't watching all them games like how we are. And we know, like, the team that we've been watching is capable of being even better.
Yes, they are. But capable,
no one else believes that.
Being capable and actually being is 2 different things. So the Knicks have to, that's why that game against the Boston Celtics, even without RJ Barrett, was important. That first game that they gave up that they could have won was important. You have to be able to prove that you can do what you need to do in order to beat these teams. And if you can't prove it, then all we're talking about is hypothetical nonsense, which I don't think it's nonsense. Obviously, I do think that the Knicks could beat the Boston Celtics, but they have to prove that they can. And if they can't do it in the regular season, well, what are we talking about in a 7-game series in the playoffs when everybody turns it up and now they're game planning against you? And if they game plan against you, you know what I mean? It's just a different environment. So let's see. They have to prove it in season first, just to kind of give them a little bit of legitimacy when it comes to a playoff kind of situation. And an in-season tournament where they're facing off against Boston potentially in a conference finals, I feel like that gives them a little bit of that legitimacy that those first 2 games would have given them if they had won both of them. All right, let's move on to the upcoming games. Knicks will be facing the Charlotte Hornets in the Spectrum Center. Dun, dun, dun. Saturday, November 16th. That is today.
At the
for
time
us,
it's recorded
at 6 o'clock. Hornets haven't won since November 10th. And the team they beat was the Washington Wizards. And the game after that was their game against us. They, like I said earlier, they just got their back kicked in against the Milwaukee Bucks.
So they're well rested.
No, they're not. They're about as rested as the Knicks are because that was actually a decent, a respectable game up until the fourth quarter.
Oh, okay.
So they're about as rested as the Knicks, but they don't have to travel. They played that game at home. They're playing today's game at home. So maybe they're not the same as rest. That travel time, yeah. So anyway, you could consider this a schedule loss, but my guess is that RJ Barrett will finally fight through those migraines that he seemed to have all week, and he'll play, and he'll guide this team to a victory.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think the Knicks are going to win this game. I don't see it being a blowout like it was the previous game, but I definitely see that this Hornets team can't match up with the Knicks, especially in the fourth quarter. It's probably going to be nip and tuck until the fourth quarter, and then
I hope not.
I just see it because it's been a back-to-back, and we're coming off another road game.
I hope
Melo
not.
Ball has been balling. Brandon Miller gave us fits last time. I'm not sure if he's going to have the same game he had against us, but I'm hoping
not.
Blowout.
Sorry, I'm hoping not, because after you got blown out the night before, if it's like a close game, that doesn't really bode well for the Knicks. Like teams are like, we got to get this bad taste out of our mouth. Mm-hmm. That's why it's like if it's like that close of a game, you could consider this a schedule loss because the Knicks are going to be a little bit more tired. They don't have that motivation to win this game. They're already looking down on the team they just beat earlier in the week. And this is like how they played against the Pelicans. I would look at it like that. They're not ready to show up. We've already seen sometimes when they're mentally not into it, how a game can get away from the Knicks. And you just kind of hope that they just keep their principles throughout the game to make this not a game by the end of the third quarter. If they can do that, then I think that it's going to be better for the Knicks. If it's a close game, I don't see the Knicks winning this game, which is, yeah.
They don't have a closer. They're going to need to rely on LaMelo Ball and we have Jalen Brunson, we have RJ Barrett, hopefully, we have Julius Randle. We have options that can close the game out. Even if Quentin Grimes comes back, he could, we have options to go to, and they don't have many options. They have a good rebounder in Mark Williams, they have a rookie in Brandon Miller, and they have LaMelo Ball, who is the most legitimate player on their team. But if you have some good defenders on him, you could definitely neutralize him and close this game out. So, yeah, we could probably move on to the next game.
All right.
The Minnesota Timberwolves are going to be at home November 20th. The Knicks are going to come to town to face off against them. They're one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. And at the time of this recording, their record is 8-3. I'm going to predict a Knicks loss. They killed us in the preseason. I think Anthony Edwards has been having the best start to his career so far. I mean, the best start to the season of his career so far. Mm-hmm. If I'm not mistaken, he's averaging nearly 30 points a game. They have Karl Towns, who's capable of being an all-star level player. Rudy Gobert is leading their defense. I honestly feel like this could be a game where, he's not averaging 30. He's averaging 26 points per game this season.
If you round up, you'd be right.
So I think Minnesota, they gave Boston their first loss of the whole year. They were on a 5-game winning streak, I think, after they beat us in that first game. And then Minnesota was the first team that took them out. So I don't know. I like the Timberwolves. I feel like they have a good chance to beat us. They're at home. And that's the last leg of a 3 to 4 game road trip for us. You know how that normally goes. Like, guys are tired, ready to go back home. Or they could just show up and be ready to close the road trip out with a perfect record. So it's hard to call it, but I think the Knicks are going to lose this game. What do you think?
Some notes. Knicks are currently the third best offensive rebounding team in the league. Minnesota is the second best defensive rebounding team in the league. Unstoppable force meets, how does that go? Immovable object.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be key. Whether Mitch can can out rebound Lil Jody. Lil Jody. And for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, Rudy Gobert was the victim of
Draymond's
very violent and unnecessary headlock from Draymond Green. just caught him with the headlock, mama.
Call for your mama.
So yeah, Draymond Green was suspended for 5 games because of that. But yeah, now from henceforth for this season at least, we're gonna refer to Rudy Gobert as Lil Jody. So yeah, if Lil Jody can rebound the ball a little well, and outduel Mitchell Robinson, who's been playing like one of the best bigs in the league. This is going to be a test for Mitch. This is going to be a test to see whether he's willing to take that challenge and snatch that challenge from Rudy Gobert as one of the best defensive big men in the league. He's already regarded as that. He's having a great year. Rudy Gobert is defensively, and this is going to be a test for Mitch. So if Mitch can win that test. Obviously, that's not the only thing that the Minnesota Timberwolves have got going for them. Anthony Edwards has been amazing. But it's going to come down to Mitch, and it's going to come down to whether the Knicks can hit their three-point shot. If they can hit the three-point shot, then they'll win this game. But I don't think that the Knicks are going to do that. I'm really torn on this one, but I think I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to say that the Knicks are going to lose this game. And if we agree on the next game, then I will switch my pick to the Knicks winning that game. And I'm going to say that the Knicks are going to be 2-0 up until this point. But yeah, I'm done with this game. Do you have anything else you want to say about Minnesota?
Switching picks. You said we can't
both say that they're going to win the same amount of games. So
yes, we can.
Okay, whatever.
If that's what you believe.
It is what I believe. I think they're going to lose that. I think they're going to lose to the Minnesota Timberwolves, but I don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a close game. I think that as long as Mitch plays well, RJ Barrett is playing. This is a game that we're probably going to need Quentin Grimes for too, but Quentin Grimes hasn't really been, he hasn't been the Grimes that we expected to see. So
it will though.
He doesn't necessarily need to be in this game, but if he's there and he's healthy, I think that's going to be key. And I think a fully healthy Knicks team is going to be needed against the Minnesota Timberwolves, who is starting to get some NBA Finals shouts as like one of those teams that you might be able to see in the finals because they match up well with the Denver Nuggets.
Let's just relax.
They're playing really well, sir.
All right, let's not drag it, though. It's only 10 games into the season. The finals, come on now. Let's move on to the next game before something else dramatic comes out of your mouth.
Final game. Listen, I'm listening to some pods, man, and Minnesota's getting a lot of love. Knicks will be playing on Friday, November 24th, 7:30 at home, Madison Square Garden, the Miami Heat. The team that knocked us out of the NBA playoffs last year in the second round. A worse version of that team. This will be...
Because they look like they're still playing pretty well.
No. It will be an in-season tournament game. And me and you are going to be there, French.
Yes, sir.
French, actually, that was your birthday gift.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome, sir. I got French some Knicks tickets for his birthday last month. And this is the game that I picked, and he's gonna probably get some really good shots from there if he's bringing his camera, because I think I got him some pretty good seats. Yeah. Anyway, I will be there also. I'll be up at the top somewhere looking down with binoculars. My take is that Miami's record is better than their actual play. Miami is that team that I was talking about earlier, where I'm looking at the record. Oh, that's a good record. Let me see who they beat. Okay, that's not impressive. That's not impressive. That's not impressive. That's not impressive. You lost to some good teams. I just don't think Miami is good. I think that they have had a decent schedule, and that's why they're 8-4. And if they had the Knicks schedule, they probably would be 5-7, or whatever that number adds up to. Assuming RJ and Mitch are playing, as well as Brunson and Randall maintaining their good play, I think that the Knicks are going to win this game by a healthy margin. And they're going to need to, because this is an in-season tournament, so you need to get that point differential up.
Healthy margin?
Healthy margin.
They still got Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler. Mm-hmm. Tyler Hero's pretty good. Mm-hmm. Duncan Robinson can shoot. I feel like they still can give us some fits. I don't know if I'm ready to call a blowout, but they beat a lot of decent teams. They didn't beat any, it's not like they were playing the Hornets and the Wizards 3 times in a row. They played the Nets, who I feel like are pretty solid. No. The Nets are like 500 right now. They're not bad. They beat the Hawks.
I'm not saying that, right? I'm not saying that these teams that they beat are like the Wizards, right?
The Lakers.
So let's take a look at their schedule. They beat the Detroit Pistons. Are we scared of the Detroit Pistons? No.
Nope.
They lost to the Boston Celtics, a very good team. They lost to the Minnesota Timberwolves, a very good team. They lost to the Milwaukee Bucks, who haven't figured it out. Or at that point of the season, they hadn't figured it out. The Knicks should have beat the Milwaukee Bucks when they played them. We're not going to talk about that, but the Knicks should have beat the Milwaukee Bucks. The Miami Heat didn't beat the Milwaukee Bucks. Brooklyn, very close game, 4-point game at the end of that game. Beat the Washington Wizards, not impressive. And they only beat them by 6-7 points. Los Angeles Lakers, I don't know how to feel about the Lakers, so I'm going to skip that one.
Still LeBron.
Memphis Grizzlies, at one point the worst team in the NBA. They beat them by 6 points. Not an impressive win. Atlanta Hawks, I already told you how I felt about Atlanta. They beat the Spurs by 5 points. They beat the Charlotte Hornets by 6 points. These are not impressive wins to me. This is all part of a 7-game win streak, and part of that streak has the Spurs, the Charlotte Hornets, the Memphis Grizzlies. You're not really. The Brooklyn win was a good win, right? They beat them by 7 points. Brooklyn is not a terrible team, but you're not blowing out teams by 15, 20 points, the bad teams, the way that the Knicks are. So that's kind of part of why I'm Miami is not as good as 8-4. I don't think they're a bad team. They're not at the bottom end of the league. They're definitely going to make the playoffs, but they're like Atlanta. There's a line, and they're under that line. Right now, they have a better record than the Knicks. That's not going to be the way it's going to be at the end of the season.
Okay.
So that for me is a win for the Knicks. You said it's a win for the Knicks, or no?
It's a skeptical win. I think there's a chance that we could lose that game, but I'm not going to pick 2 Knicks losses in a week, so I'm counting that as a win.
All right. So I will win predictions if the Knicks get a clean sweep this week. Because you're more skeptical and I'm more optimistic.
Okay.
And I think that's all we got, sir. You got anything else you want to talk about?
Nah. I think the games this week are going to be real intense, so I'm just looking forward to watching these games this week.
I don't know about real intense.
Minnesota and Miami, you don't feel like that's going to be intense?
Minnesota will be the most intense game.
Probably.
I'm not. I think that the Knicks will come into that Miami game with something to prove. And I hope that they come in with something to prove. And I don't think I talked about how I feel about the in-season tournament. I want to like the in-season tournament because we have to deal with it.
I want to see that Vegas bubble.
Right. I want to see the Knicks in Vegas. I want to see, like, it comes with a lot of stuff where it's like, I won't be mad at you if you don't care about it, but it can't hurt, right? And it can only benefit the Knicks. So I kind of want to see these things include the New York Knicks because that's only going to be beneficial to them when it comes to other teams, other players, how they're looked at by national media. So yeah, I think that they should come to the Garden, come on in, Miami. Let me just put a little quick spanking on you for embarrassing us in the playoffs last year. And yeah, that's kind of what I'm hoping. All right. Since you got nothing, I just want to say thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you to Hudson Valley Podcasting for once again helping us produce an awesome and amazing show. If you like this show, please subscribe, please give us 5 stars on iTunes. Please hit that notification bell so that you are notified when we have a new YouTube video coming up.
And leave some comments. Like, come on, we talking about a lot up here. You got something to say. We got people watching. You could chip in and give us something to talk about.
You got any comments, concerns, bitches, moans, gripes? People say that very more fluid than I do. If you got anything you want to say, please let us know. You could also message us if you don't want it to be public. Let us know if you have any suggestions for us. I think that's all I got. Thank you guys. Appreciate you. Love y'all. We'd like to bid you adieu. Thank you for listening to the Knicks Take Podcast. Peace out.
Knicks Take Podcast.
Drives inside.